Hey everybody, welcome back to Lettermen Row. It's BuckIQ. I am Austin Ward, joined again by my good friend Robert BB Landers. You know we're breaking down the Rushmen and again looking on the inside of that defensive line. BB, how are you?
Not too bad. Trying to get this damn app to work has been a headache, but hey, can't complain.
Hey, it was a lot easier when we were downtown in the office, but we're making do the best we can. Hey,
Yeah.
you've told me all along when we were talking about the defensive tackles, there's no reason for Ohio State to be worried. We talked about Tommy Togiai last week, and then another guy that you've talked about for a long time and known for a long time, Haskell Garrett. He seems to be playing at the highest level of his career right now, and you told me that was coming.
Big time. I was fortunate enough to kind of, be there when Haskell came in and watch his development and his growth on and off the field. You know what I mean? So I always knew at some point in time, once he kind of buckled down and figured it out, he would be a special player. And sure enough, he's playing at a high level. He's becoming a big impact in every game that they've had so far. And from talking to him and talking to other guys, the practice is reflecting his gameplay. So he's consistent, you know what I mean, and he's carrying over the classroom and all the training that they were able to do, and then all of the knowledge and wisdom that he's collected over the years from guys that were in the front of the room when he was sitting in the back of the room. So I feel like he's finally putting all of his attributes together, and he's utilizing all of his resources that he's had to put him in this position, and I'm proud of him.
So, when we've talked about, when we used to talk about you, it was that quickness. When it's Tommy, it's that raw strength. When Haskell came in, what is the trait that, Larry Johnson talked about or that the guys in the room noticed and said, this is what really sets Haskell Garrett apart from other people?
The biggest thing with Haskell is his motor was ridiculous. 24/7. He's running sideline to sideline. Like, his motor was just – it was different, man. Like, it was times we was getting yelled at in practice because he pursuing sideline to sideline to a play that he's not going to make. Like, let's be real. Like, J.K. is already 20 yards down the field. You're not going to catch him. I'm not even sure if Jordan Fuller is going to even get tap him on his hip to simulate the tackle. Like, you're not going to catch him. But he would run, you know what I mean? And he – all the way across the board, he always had a little bit of everything. He has the size. He has the strength. He has the quickness. He has the athletic ability. He has good hips. He has good feet. You know what I mean? So he had so much space to grow, but he already had a great foundation.
Yeah. He's clearly growing into it now. BB Landers is going to break down what is fueling Haskell Garrett through these first 3 weeks. Right now, let's roll the tape. All right, baby, so we go back to the opener here. This, we didn't know if he was going to play. This is
Right.
Garrett got shot in late August, and that was a much bigger deal. But this is a guy, he's on the field, and take that aside, he's still making an impact, maybe more than he had in his career. I know that this meant a lot to you just to see them even playing.
Yeah. I think it just shows, how much you got to cherish the game. You know what I mean? You got to take it all one day at a time, and I feel like these boys really have been doing that, taking it one day, one game at a time. But with this play right here, Haskell does a great, great, great job with hands and hips. You'll see he kind of sets him up, but from the beginning he sets him up by being in a loose shade or loose three tech. So now the guard has to come and get him. Now as he goes to engage, you see the guard will drop his head a little bit. So Haskell does a good job of getting that outside elbow, pinning it, and arming over and flipping his hips to get skinny in the gap. And from there, it's a green light to the quarterback.
This looks like perfect teaching tape. Like, I don't know how you could draw this up any better.
Oh, you can't.
How good does that feel when you get through like that and you've got that clear space to the quarterback from that position?
I ain't gonna lie to you, that's the scary part because it's like, all right, I can't miss it. if I blow this, I'm gonna look bad. Yeah.
So, yeah, that's an interesting way to look at it. That's a big sack.
Yeah.
This was another play where Haskell really kind of, I know that Coach Jay in the film room would be looking at this and saying, this is exactly what you teach at that position.
Yep, big time.
What's the key here?
Perfect play. So the key to this is it's a certain communication that's going to take place between the linebackers and the D-line, okay? And he knows that he has to close that inside A gap late. So you have to do a good job of coming out, fitting the guard, gaining enough ground, but not too much to where you get too deep in the backfield. Now you got to snatch an arm over and get inside, because that's going to give the quarterback the image of, okay, I got a lot of grain ahead of me, and it's going to close right before he gets through the line of scrimmage. So Haskell does a good job of fitting, locking out, getting extension, keeping his eyes in his gap, and then closing the gap.
I think that's a reminder too, and this is another play just like that where, we've talked about how difficult it can be to rack up stats from the inside of that defensive line. Like, he's got 6 tackles, but that doesn't even really, feel like it sums up to how impactful he's been this year.
Yeah. I think what the reason that is because even though at times Haskell don't make the play, he makes the play because he's been disruptive over and over and over again. It's amazing how much of an impact you can make on a game through getting penetration on a consistent basis and never probably touching the ball carrier. Like, for us, we would give ourselves those stats. If I come through and I just destroy an old lineman and he bumps and he runs into the line or the running back, if the linebacker gets that tackle, we got that tackle. That's not your stat. That's our stat. You're welcome. So I think that's the reason why he's been so impactful and his presence has been felt more than his stats show, is because all the way across the board he's been very disruptive so far this season.
And this looks like an example of what you talked about off the top, BB, with the motor. Like, you'd see a lot of players, maybe not at Ohio State, but elsewhere around the country. This play's going away. It gets past him. There's, 3 blockers in the way or 3 guys in the way. Maybe you just you pack it in, hope somebody else gets the play, but that's not Haskell's approach here.
And this is a great example of Haskell's motor saving him, because Coach J right here probably cussed him out because he messed up. I'm not going to put him on blast too much. So if you see, you get this, what is it, GC? Yep, you get the GC pull. So from there, he's supposed to fit and stay in that gap.
Okay.
He pops out of the gap, and then he tries to fight back into it, but you got to give up ground. You're not supposed to give up ground, Haskell. Hands and hips. But it is what it is. And then from there, this is just all effort. You know what I mean? That's one thing Haskell has always done. He's always done a great job of making the choice, because effort is not a skill set that you learn. It's a choice that you make. And he always is going to make the choice to go 1,000,000 miles an hour. And the culture is pursuit to the ball, and he's doing that. And it just so happens he pursues to the ball and make a play.
It works out. It doesn't always have to be – I have heard that from Coach Jay before. It doesn't always have to be perfect. As long as you've got that energy, you can make up for it. So
that's it.
I know that it sounds like you've been in there for 5 years talking about the hands and hips, and then if you can't get that tonight, at least get the effort going. Yeah, I know it's ingrained in your brain.
It is. Oh, my God.
BB Landers, as always, with the great insight, breaking down the defensive tackles. Haskell Garrett and Tommy Togiai both getting it done early for the Buckeyes. BB, as always, appreciate you hanging out with me on Lettermen Row for BuckIQ. Thanks a lot, man.
Appreciate it, brother. I'll see you on Thursday.
You got it. Weekend kickoff coming up. See you next time.
All right, bro. Appreciate it.